There's something about the films that you watch as a kid that just have such an impact on you.
I am back and welcome to the channel if you've never been here before. Today I will be once again watching a celebrity's top 4 to learn more about them. I will be digging into Anya Taylor-Joy, wherein I will be watching 3 of the favourites on her list. I've now done this for several celebrities, and I used to do this series for books, but I might actually end up doing more of these for films by the looks of it. I will link the playlist here if anyone is interested at all. Her choices are classics and also quite nostalgia-pilled, and so while I do think she likes these movies, I think that without having even watched or rewatched any of these, I think I can say they were probably her childhood favourites, and she does kind of say that in the video itself. So is this a well thought out favourite list? Maybe not, but is this probably a list of the films that are most dear to her? Probably. I think the films that you think of fondly would obviously be your favourites, which is why, sadly, Pitch Perfect is always going to be in mine. So now let's go out and find out more about Anya Taylor-Joy.
Forrest Gump.
Forrest Gump.
Forrest Gump. I love that movie. I miss movies like that. Just huge epic sagas where you just feel every emotion under the sun.
We start with Forrest Gump as the Mecca's Tom Hanks club classic. I think this story is very sweet, yet it rings hollow. Things happen to Forrest, and that's what the film is all about. And if you don't know what this film is about, it follows Mr. Forrest Gump, who is currently recounting the story of his life to random people throughout the film. And we discovered that throughout his life, he has found himself in the middle of many key historical events. And the film flashes backwards and forwards to show us how his life has panned out. And that all he wants now is to reunite with his childhood friend, Jenny. The film overall is punctuated by the idea of following the virtues of strength and perseverance, yet it quietly remains quite prejudiced, which can be seen most clearly in Forrest's inability to be with Jenny romantically throughout the film. I know this is meant to be my review, but this video by British now really enhanced what I already thought about the film, and it feels very conservative in its positivity about American values, which are only challenged in a very surface level way. In its own way, it's an American classic for a reason. Additionally, the whole detail about running is way less interesting and important within this film than first advertised. Running is meant to be Forrest Gump's whole thing. That's what I was told. So at first he begins running to get away from the bullies, which I think is a little bit, fun, it's uplifting, and it's all about rooting for Forrest as an underdog. However, this is sort of twisted into becoming a motif of him running away when something bad happens, highlighted when Forrest runs across the country, which is a major plot point. And this endeavour makes him famous. But this isn't a very outlandish or motivating concept within this film, right? Because it's just one of the insane kooky things that Forrest does. It's not the major thing. So I'm why was running so important to the cultural identity of this film? There's not that much running. Not really. Not how much running I was advertised. I thought he was gonna get famous for running. When he gets famous for ping pong, I was oh, I thought it was running as an Olympic sport. But no, he just runs sometimes.
Hook lives up there for me. I love that movie so much.
Now, the second film is Hook, and Hook is fine. This is a film that I think cements this list as one of nostalgia. Hook is whimsical as a result of its sound editing, its score, and its set design, which comes together to make a homely atmosphere, and it's built upon the foundations of a classic family-friendly dynamic and look, I think, that's provided by 80s to noughties cinema. However, for a film named Hook, there is an unintriguing focus on Robin Williams as Peter Pan. So when Hook, on the other hand, for all of the film's other faults, is outrageous and interesting in a way that Peter Pan's arc of redemption that goes from him being an absent father to Father of the Year just isn't. It instead makes the film feel really drawn out in a really unengaging way. I was under the impression that because he was a bad father, he was going to be Hook, but no. Hook is over the top, and he's amusingly devious, and this is a feature that the good guys made up of Peter Pan, the Lost Boys, and Tinkerbell lack. This lack of charm is only made up for by the warm lighting, editing, and hand-built sets, which I think then help keep the elevated magical aura afloat. Apparently I'm fucking, what even is this accent? Afloat in the character's stead. I think this film would have been more of a romp if we were meant to be rooting for Hook, which is why I thought Robin Williams was going to be Hook. Peter instead is infamous and beloved without much cause for it. And as charming and upbeat as Williams always is, there's only so far I can take a deadbeat father seriously. And if he spent more time with his kids within the story rather than having to spend the film eventually realising that parenting and being around for his children was important, then maybe he'd be more fleshed out and we would finally have to care. So I didn't care. And I was just like, you're just jealous. You don't actually care about your children. But as I mentioned before, it does look phenomenal as a result of the customized design. Something the average family film since the 2010s has now swapped for CGI. And it kind of makes me ache for this urban fantasy fun family adventure in our times. And to be able to show my niece and nephew this genre of adventure family flick that was much more available when I was younger, rather than the slop family content that Netflix slaps together every like Christmas time.
Almost Famous, just in terms of like being able to create a tone. Like I can see that movie in color and in a feeling.
And last but definitely not least, we have Almost Famous. I think this is probably my favourite pick of the three. This one is about 15-year-old William, who accompanies the rock band Stillwater on their American tour in order to write an article about them. And along the way, he discovers himself, the industry, and spends a lot of time within the microcosm of groupie life with his new friend Penny Lane. I think it's very interesting that this film is witnessed through the perspective of a child. It makes all the shady happenings in this film feel so much more normal. Nothing is creepy or seedy because William is young. He's so earnest and he constantly shows his age, especially in a way that contradicts Penny Lane, the resident Stillwater groupie slash fan who is hooking up with a member of the band even though she's 16 years old, apparently. William is eager, uncorrupted, and nice. He learns everyone's names, he doesn't really ever become mean. This film isn't about him being exposed to the world and it corrupting him. It's more about giving us a gateway into this 70s life, because we never actually hear any of the music Stillwater puts out. It's all about the world of the backstage. It's about the parts of band life that we love gossiping about. This is evident from the way that, aside from actual pictures of this time, it's definitely the film that I would think of when picturing 70s rock culture. The costume design is wonderful. No one looks as rugged as they perhaps should or sounds like they're in the 70s, but everyone feels the part because of their hair and their clothing being immaculate. Special mention to my favourite bit of the film, which also sort of enhances the backstage aspect, which is when they sing Tiny Dancer together. That really felt like we were on the bus with them, that all the toxicity was worth it if only we could all be friends singing Tiny Dancer together. But overall, I don't think this film says much. It's fun, it's visually exciting, and the acting is interesting. But the plot is just a little bit too meandering. Penny has to break free of the toxic showbiz culture, but as a journalist, William is made to stay. The world that's been seen to chew and spit people out invites William in, as he's talented and because he's a boy. The film wants a victim in Penny, who is a girl and a muse, but a saviour of the culture in William, who is a boy and a writer. Therefore, there's no real textual opposition to him, a child, remaining within this world of rock and roll, when if this film was really taking a stance against young people or people being exploited, he would not at the end get what he wanted. And my last note with this is that Jimmy Fallon is genuinely quite good in this, and it kind of freaked me out. I can't believe that this is what his hosting money kind of took from us. We'll never see this again. And maybe less Fallon is a good thing. Or maybe having Jimmy in films rather than on late night could have made for a better media landscape than what we have now. Now for the debrief of Anya Taylor-Joy. I don't think that these films tell us anything we didn't know going in already before watching them. Going in, I knew it was going to be about nostalgia, and coming out, I think that too. Although, now I do think she never really picked good nostalgic films. And to that I say, Miss Anya Taylor-Joy, I implore you to watch the films The Princess Bride, The Wizard of Oz, and Stardust, and many others such as that, because I really don't care about Forrest Gump. It's such a whatever movie. And I'm sure you might have already seen them, but let's just revisit maybe. Maybe let's pick better childhood favourite, which is not a thing you can do, but still, as I said, Pitch Perfect will always be up there for me. Those are the 3 films that I wanted to review. Go and watch those films, or don't. Your future with these films is up to you. As always, thank you for watching. Like the video if you liked it, and subscribe if you're really about it. Hope you have a great day. Bye!